everybody. Good morning. Welcome. My name is Allie DePew, and we are a beautiful Lime Kiln Point State Park. I have got John Floberg from the Washington State Parks Foundation here with me today, and Aaron Cora from F.O.L.K.S. And I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic over to John.
All right. So we're going to take a journey to the park. Who's with me? Raise your hand really high so I can see it. All right. The Washington State Parks Foundation is here, and we're creating a series of these events across the state park system. And our first one is right here at Lime Kiln Point State Park on San Juan Island in northwest Washington. It's May, and the orca are returning. It's really exciting. And where I'm standing right now at the edge of the island is a really exciting place too. And you can see the lighthouse behind me. I want to introduce you to Aaron Cora behind me with Friends of Lime Kiln Society, and she's going to tell you about this place that she loves so well. Aaron, say hi.
Thanks, John. Hello, everybody. Can you wave if you hear me? Yeah. Hey, nice to see you all. Welcome back to the park. So I was helping you guys with our first little tour of the park through the video you guys saw as a classroom. Do you thumbs up if everyone saw that video?
Do you guys see the video?
Yes, all right. So you guys got a fun virtual tour of the park earlier. Well, I'm the founder and director of F.O.L.K.S, Friends of Lime Kiln Society. It's a nonprofit that I started about 5 years ago to help support this beautiful place that I call home, and also definitely build more education and stewardship through with the whales and the natural history of this beautiful place. So if we pan in on the lighthouse behind me, we'll get a closer view. You guys see that really nicely? We've got the lighthouse right here. It was built in 1919. In 3 years, it's going to be 100 years old. Well, we're going to have a big centennial celebration for the lighthouse then, and you guys are all invited. I sure hope you get to make it. So we're right here in the heart of the Sailor Sea. Right off the lighthouse, we've got the Harrow Strait, this beautiful strait of water. It's all salt water. About 50 feet off the shoreline, it drops down 900 feet. That's actually 150 fathoms down. And if you go across the water, you can see the land across the way. That's actually Canada. Who's been to Canada? You want to raise your hand if you've been to Canada? Oh, there's a few of you. Very nice. Well, it's pretty neat. We get to look at a whole nother country over there. And it's only 10 miles across. So this light actually shines out 17 miles. Do you think that they see it across the way over there? Yep, they get to see it every 10 seconds at night. It flashes for them. So anyways, we're going to get more into the whales here. So I'm going to introduce you to Jeff Hogan with Killer Whale Tales. Give him a hand. Here he comes.
There they are. All right, good morning, everyone. Hey, say good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
All right, on the count of three, do me a favor, say your name. 1, 2, 3. Nice to meet each and every one of you today. Good to see you. So here's what we're going to do today. We've got a little two-part program. The first part of my program, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the whales that you might see swimming here at Lime Kiln State Park. After that, we're going to play a little game show. I'm going to see what you know about orcas. And guess what? If you guys can actually answer my orca-related questions, you guys have a chance to win some pretty cool prizes. Give me a thumbs up if you want to play the game.
Play the game.
All right, nicely done. So it looks like we're talking to schools in Yakima, Washington, and in Oregon. What town are you guys in Oregon? Eagle Point. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and raise your hand if you've ever seen a killer whale before. Raise your hand if you've never seen killer whales before.
Oh, almost all of
Wow, nice. Okay, let's go to content. All right, so as many of you guys know, killer whales are found all around the planet. So no matter where you go, you're going to find two things, people and killer whales. But we're not going to talk about all the different type of killer whales you'll see. And if you look at this poster, you can see that there's many different types. You'll notice the colors are different, the shapes of their body are different, their eye patches are all different sizes. We're not going to talk about all these different types. We're just going to focus on this group right here. And that's the group of whales that you're most likely to see here at Lime Kiln State Park. And that group of whales right there actually has their own name. We call those whales Can you guys read this for me? What does this say? What do we call them? Perfect. So this group of killer whales, think of them as a community. Think of them as their own state, their own team. There are no other killer whales on the planet like them, and we actually know quite a bit about them because we've been studying these guys since the late 60s and the early 70s. So what do we know about them? Well, we know the southern resident killer whales are not the biggest killer whales on the planet, and they're not the smallest. So which one of those is the male? If you think it's the top picture, go ahead and point to the ceiling. If you think the male's on the bottom, go ahead and point to the floor. Most of you guys look like you're pointing at the ceiling. So if you're pointing at the ceiling, you are correct. It's the top one. And male southern resident killer whales, when they're fully grown at about age 20 or so, these whales are about 21 feet long. So I know what you're thinking. How long is that? Well, maybe later on today, with the help of your teacher, you guys can get out a tape measure or a ruler and see how long 21 feet is, and then line up, standing up. See how many of you it's going to take to equal the length of a 21-foot southern resident killer whale male. Now, if you look closely here at the bottom one, you'll see the female here. She's only about 18 feet when she's fully grown at around age 15. So she's about this much shorter. Now, that's not a big difference, but look at the difference in weight. The male, that 3 feet, that equals up to 3,000 pounds. So even though he's only this much shorter, he weighs almost 3,000 pounds more than she does, or he can. So next time you see a big truck like that on the highway, just point at it and go, southern resident killer whale, because that's about the size of these animals. All right, the biggest male out there, he actually has a name. He has two names. We call him L41. That's his science name. And we also call him Mega because he's really big. And if you look closely here, you'll see that he's actually closer to 24 feet long. So he's this much longer than most of the average males out here. All right. Raise your hand if you would rather talk about babies than adults. Yeah, I thought so. So if you take a look at the baby right there, those babies, when they're born here, and we've had about 8 of them born in the last year, the babies that you see there, the day they're born, they're about 8 feet long, and they weigh about 350 pounds. Would you raise your hand if you weighed 350 the day you were born? Handful of you? Okay, I feel sorry for your moms. All right. What else do we know about southern resident killer whales? Well, we know they spend a good chunk of the summer right here behind me at Kiln State Park and the waters around San Juan Island. But in the winter, they kind of disappear. Well, they don't really disappear. We just never really knew where they're going until a couple of years ago. And a couple of years ago, my friends at the Northwest Fisheries Science Center, they put a tag on one of these whales, and you can probably see that tiny tag right there. And this tag records everywhere this whale goes. And it does that about 15 minutes of every day, depending on how the tag is set. Watch how far this whale and his family swim in just 12 days. So we tagged this whale really near Seattle. So if you guys are familiar with the Space Needle, that's close to where we tagged that animal. Watch how far this guy swims in just 14 days. So you'll notice after we tag him, he leaves the Seattle area, turns left, goes out into the Pacific Ocean, swims by you guys down there in Oregon, and eventually, after 2 weeks, swims nearly all the way down to San Francisco. But if that's not cool enough, watch what happens when he gets to San Francisco. He turns around with his family and comes all the way back to the Pacific Northwest. So these animals are traveling about 100 miles a day, and this whale on that journey in those 2 weeks could have possibly swam between 1,200 and 1,800 miles. They're swimming quite a big distance. Normally that tag falls off, the body heals over, there's rarely a sign right in that area, and we get a lot of nice data off of that tag. Okay, what else do we know about them? We know they travel in large groups. Okay, remember that. We'll talk about that later. And they're totally fish eaters. In fact, do you guys know what kind of fish is their favorite fish to eat? Salmon. That's absolutely right. Yeah, and their favorite salmon is Chinook. Say, Jeff, how do you know that?
Jeff, how do you know that?
Raise your hand if you can keep a secret. Because we scoop their poop. Well, what do you mean, ooh? Hey, raise your hand if you find poop absolutely fascinating.
You do?
Well, be a scientist for a moment, because actually, if you scoop their poop, what can you tell about these animals?
What they eat?
Yeah, what they're eating, right? That's how we know they're eating fish. But their poop also tells us if they're sick. It tells us if they're stressed out. It can tell you which whale is related to which other whale. And the poop can even tell you if a female whale was pregnant, is pregnant, will never be pregnant again. So if you remember nothing from this presentation today, I want you to please remember the following. Poop is very important. All right. These animals spend about half their day looking for food and their night. They have their own language, and I'm going to teach you to talk like them in a second. These guys are endangered. In fact, as of this morning, there are only 84 of these southern resident killer whales left. So earlier, your teachers were sent a packet that has a bunch of Orca games and information in it. If you want to help protect these whales at your home, have them download that packet, and you can help these animals tonight. All right, let's go ahead and play a game. So teachers, I need your help. I need you to pick one student in each of your classrooms who's going to be my lead researcher. In other words, they're going to be the ones that represents everyone, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be talking to me and giving me the answers that your class comes up with. Okay, I'll give you about a minute to do that. I'll trade over the computer. Get me a lead researcher, please. Let's see, Miss Stillwater's class out in Yakima. What's the name of my lead researcher? What's your name, buddy?
Israel Valencia.
Okay, Israel, did I say your first name right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's go down to Ms. Mars' class. Who are you? What's your name, please?
Clarissa Beckler.
Clarissa. All right, Clarissa, say hi to Israel.
Hi.
Israel, say hi back to Clarissa.
Hey.
All right. All right. So let's get started. So lead researchers, you guys can go ahead and just sit near the camera somewhere. I'm going to be asking you guys questions. Once your classes come up with what you think the answer is, then you guys can get closer to the camera and I'll talk to you, okay? All right, so here we go. So here's the first question that your class is going to work on. So researchers in Oregon and in Yakima, we're going to be asking you questions today about these whales. If you can answer these questions correctly, we're going to send you some of these Orca trading cards. And on the front of the cards are the whales that you see swimming behind us. You have a chance today to earn up to 5 total cards. Let's see if you can do it. Okay, question number 1. Here we go. Question number 1. What are the 5 basic needs of these endangered southern resident killer whales? In other words, what 5 things do these whales need that you also need in order for them to survive? Okay, go. You've 1 minute for your team to come up with the correct answer. Go ahead. If you think you know, go ahead and send your lead researchers back to the camera, and we'll see if you can get them all.
Do you see your blue shirt?
All right, Ms. Mars' class, can you give me one of those 5 basic needs? What do you think?
Food.
Food is absolutely right. Give yourselves a hand. You guys just earned an Orca trading card for both schools. Nicely done. So you guys are right. They do need food. And these southern resident killer whales, they need up to about 1,000 pounds of fish a day, depending on the size of the whale. So salmon food is right. Okay, let's go to Yakima. Israel, do you have a second basic need?
They will need water and other liquids to stay hydrated.
Wow. Hey, Israel, are you an Orca expert?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, I can tell. Well, guess what? Give yourselves a hand. You guys got another card. Congratulations. They do need water. Good job. Good. Okay, so there are 3 more things. Israel, do you have another one?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Miss Mars' class, we'll go back to you guys. Do you have another one?
Oh, wait, one more.
Okay, Israel, go ahead. Miss Mars, hold on a second. Israel, go.
They need air to breathe.
They do need air to breathe. Give yourselves a hand. That's another Orca card. Nicely done. All right, Miss Mars class, we have food, we have air, we have water. Do you guys have the other two? They begin with the letter S.
Shelter.
Shelter is correct. Do you know what the other one is? Okay, there's one more. Does anyone know it? I'll give it up to both schools. Do you know what it is?
Salt water.
Food. Well, you said somebody said water. We already said water. Salt water. Well, they swim in the salt water, sure, but that's still water. I'm looking for something that begins with S and ends with pace.
Space?
Space is absolutely correct. Nicely done. Give you guys a hand. All right. So, you guys are correct. These animals, just like you, need food, shelter, air, water, and space. And I think you can see why they are endangered, because food, particularly in this area, is not what it once was. There's not as many fish. Shelter, air, and water are being affected by pollution, and the noise that humans make is affecting the space that they swim in. All right, nicely done, guys. Let's go ahead and go on to the next question. I'll give you guys 30 seconds to come up with the answer to this one. Here it is. The question is, if you were a southern resident killer whale that swims right here at Kiln State Park, how are you going to get those 5 basic needs met? How do you get your food, your shelter, your air, your water, your space? 30 seconds, see if you can get 2 possible answers. Go. All right, you guys, your time is up. Do you guys have the 2 possible ways they get their needs met? Which class has got it? All right, Mrs. Mars class, looks like your hand went up first. Hey, Mrs. Mars class, my lead researcher, would you remind me of your name again, please?
Clarissa.
Marissa. Okay, so Marissa, do you have both ways that they get their basic needs met?
They get their air from their blowhole.
Okay, so they can get their basic needs met by themselves. What's the other way they can get like their food? How do they do that? Do they do that by themselves, or?
They go underwater and search for the food.
By themselves?
Yeah. No.
Okay, so you're right. Oh, what? Go ahead, Mrs. Mars class, say it again.
With their pack.
As a pod. Right, so, yeah, a pack or a pod is this, you're talking about the same thing. We call them pods. So give yourselves a hand. You guys are right. Nicely done. You just earned that. Good. So these killer whales are a lot like us. They can get their basic needs met by themselves, right? Of course, they can breathe by themselves. They drink by themselves. But they also get by with a little help from their friends because they use their family to help them hunt for fish. All right, nicely done. Let's go to question number 3. Both classes, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to answer this one. See if you can answer this one. How do you and the southern resident killer whales get others to help them? How does one whale let another whale know it needs something? Talk to your research team. Get me an answer. All right, time is up. So Israel, you know your hand went up first. So does your team know how do they let another whale know they need something?
Yes, they communicate by making a special frequency of noises.
Israel, you're killing me. You're gonna come take my job. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You guys are absolutely correct. They do. They communicate. Give me a hand. They just heard you guys cards.
I'm coming.
So go ahead and get prepared. Raise your hands ready to go with your paper and pencil. So Israel, do you have your own car?
Sure.
You do? I'd like to hire you. Can I start to hire you so you can teach in Yakima for me?
Yes. I'd like to
How much
drop
money do
right
you
now.
think you want? You want to drop right? How much do you think you want to get paid to work with me?
$23 an hour.
23 an hour.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Does that mean you're going to help me scoop poop too?
Aside from that, I'll help with anything else.
What if I go to $30 an hour?
Yeah.
You think about it. I'll get back to you. Okay, Israel, go sit down. Let's go ahead and start playing the game. Miss Mars, class, you guys ready to go? So let's teach you how killer whales communicate. So when they communicate, they use calls, okay? And the calls that I want to teach you today, they're not letters. They're not words. They're not syllables like humans use them. At least we don't think so. Best guess is, though, that they're using these calls to help each other find one another. So I'm going to teach you 2 J-pod calls. So on your piece of paper right now, on your data sheet, put a big letter J. Just write the letter J.
J-pod, you're good.
And if you can see on the screen, next to J, write S2I. Southern Resident Killer Whale Call 2 version I. And also write S4. Southern Resident Killer Whale Call number 4. Once you've written down J and those 2 letters and numbers, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll play the calls for you. Okay, Martin Luther King. Good. We got you guys in Oregon. Okay, so listen closely. The first call I'm going to play for you is the S2I. I need you to memorize these calls because in a few minutes we're going to use these calls to continue the game show. Here comes the first call, S2I. I call this the screaming baby call because it sounds to me like a baby going, wah, wah. See if you don't agree. Here it comes. 2 S2Is. Give me a thumbs up if you guys could hear the screaming baby. Nicely done. Okay, so if you hear a screaming baby, you know it's the S2I call, and in this game, it's a J-pod call, okay? Let's go to S4. Now, S4 reminds me of my dad. I call it the daddy call. And I know what you're thinking. This must be a beautiful, lovely sound. And you're right. So listen really close. I'm going to play S4 twice and see if you can't hear this incredible, beautiful sound. Here we go. Raise your hand if you heard a whale go. Raise your hand if that sound reminds you of your dad. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. So next time somebody in your family makes that noise, tell them to come to Lime Kiln State Park, sit in the water, because they could talk to whales. All right, so give me thumbs up if you wrote down S2I, S4, and you know those calls, you've memorized them, and I can go on to K-pod. All right, let's go to K-pod. So now on your piece of paper, put a big letter K, write S16, and then write S17. And while you're doing that, I'll explain what K-pod calls sound like. It's easy to remember K-pod calls because they sound like kitty cats. And of course, kitty begins with K, no matter what the commercial says. Okay? So if you hear one kitty cat, it's S16. Thanks. Here comes S16, one kitty. See if you can hear just one meow. Raise your hand if you heard one kitty going meow. Good. Let's go to S17. Listen closely because this is 2 kitty cats. You'll hear a meow meow. Here we go with S17. I'll play it again. Okay, raise your hand if you heard 2 kitty cats. Good. So if you hear one kitty cat, what call is it?
S16.
Right. If you hear 2 kitty cats, what call is it?
S17.
And if you hear kitty cats at all, what pod makes those calls? K-pod. Give me thumbs up if you have that all written down and I can go on to L-pod. All right, let's get started. So now we're on to L-pod. So go ahead and write the letter L.
Write the letter
And I'll play these 2 calls for you. So the first L-pod call I want to teach you is S19. So go ahead and write S19, and I'll play it for you while you're writing. This is called the hiccup call, because it sounds like somebody's got the hiccups. Good. Give me thumbs up if you got the hiccup call S19 written down. All right. And the last call I want to teach you right now is the teacher call. This is S37. So do me a favor, after you write down S37, go ahead and make eye contact with your teacher. Okay, just stare at your teacher, and I'm going to play this teacher call. And if you're looking at your teacher and you've ever heard your teacher make this noise, I want you to put both your hands in the air. Okay, here it comes, the teacher call. Stare deeply at your teacher. They love when you do that. Here it comes, S37.
Andrew, you guys.
All right, well, I got to tell you, nice. Okay, good. S37. So that's a two-parter. Give me a thumbs up if you wrote down S19, S37, and you have both of those L-pod calls memorized. Good, nicely done. Okay, the last call we're going to review before we go back to the game show is S1. This is the most frequently heard call, I would guess. All three pods make it. I call it the Cowboy Call, and I think you'll see why, because you're going to hear a whale going yee-haw. All right, here it is. All right. Go ahead and write down S1, and then right next to S1, J, K, and L, because all three pods make that call. Israel, I want you to check in with your team. If they feel like you're ready, come back up to the camera. We'll start the game. Marissa, when your team is ready, come back up to the camera. We'll go back to the game show. Let's give you guys a chance to earn some more Orca trading cards. All right, let's get started. There's Israel. I don't see Marissa. Is she there? There she is. Okay. All right, so here's what I'm going to do, you two. I'm going to play some Orca calls for you. It's up to you and your research team to tell me not only what call we're listening to, but what pod is making it. If you guys are right, you each earn another Orca trading card for both classrooms. Give me thumbs up if you want to play. Okay, they're ready to go. Okay, so here we go. I'll play each call twice. Turn around, talk to your team. Remember, I want the pod and the S number. Let's see if you guys can earn some more cards. Here we go. I'll play it for you twice. What call and what pod or pods is this?
All three cowboy. All three.
You got 4 fingers.
Hey, I got pencil with
3
me.
pods. This room. So it's
All
three.
right, it looks like you're both ready. Okay, so you know what, Israel, your team's hand went up first. Can you tell me, first of all, what call was that?
That was S1.
Yes, it was. And do you know the pod or pods?
L pod. No, the
Say it one more time.
JK and L pod.
Okay, Israel, is that your final answer?
Yes.
Guess what?
What? Correct.
You just won an Orca trading card. You guys are absolutely correct. Nicely done. All right, nicely done. Let's go on to the next one. So, Marissa, get ready. This one's just for your class. Marissa, can you guys tell me who this is and what call it is? Go ahead, Ellie. Crank it up.
What do you think?
Hold on one second, Marissa. We actually have a float plane flying over, and I can hardly hear myself talking, so 1 second. Okay, Marissa, give it to me. Do you know what pod that was?
S37 Alpod.
S37 L-Pod is right. Guess what? You just earned both schools another card. Good job. All right, let's go. I'm going to throw one back to you guys, and this one's a little tricky, and I know what you're going to think. You're like, wait a minute, Jeff, you just gave us the answer. I didn't. I want your class to make the S17 call. If everyone on your research team can make this call, we'll earn you guys a card. Check in with each other. Do you guys remember S17?
Do they know what it is?
S17.
Tell everybody what it is. Look on your paper. What is your S17 call?
Oh, you didn't put on the 19.
Is it the 1 kitty or 2 kitty? Okay,
All right, Marissa, is your team ready? Okay, guys, everybody listen. So Martin Luther King, listen, because Marissa's team says they think they know it. So let's see. Go ahead, Marissa, get your team to make S17.
S17?
No, you have to make the sound.
You have to make the sound. I heard 2 kitty cats. Let's see if you guys are right. Here comes the call. Nicely done, Marissa's class. You got another Orca card for both schools. Good job. All right. You know what? You guys are so good at this that we're going to skip to the hardest one yet. So here's the deal.
No.
Yeah. So, Israel, you and Marissa are going to work together, okay? And I'm going to play for you a recording that lasts about 30 seconds. I want you in Yakima and Marissa in Oregon to listen to these recordings. You cannot use your group to help you. It is up to the 2 of you alone. If you guys can tell me what calls you hear, what pods you hear in this recording, I'm going to give every student at both of your schools 10 cards each. But you and Marissa must work alone to come up with the pod or pods that you hear. Sound good, Israel?
Yeah.
Good. Marissa, sound good? You think you can work with Israel to do this?
Some of the class is out right now. Can you wait a few minutes?
Okay. So everyone in the school classrooms has to be quiet. It's up to Israel and Marissa alone to do this. If they're both right, every kid today gets 10 cards. But Israel, guess what?
What?
If you're wrong, I'm not going to give cards to anybody. So Israel, how much do I have to pay you now to work for me?
$40 an hour.
All right, I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go, Marissa. Marissa, give me thumbs up if you're ready. Did she give me thumbs up? I can't see her.
Yeah. She did.
Okay, she did. All right, here we go. Put your listening ears on. Israel, Marissa, you are working together, but by yourselves. Who is this? J's, K's, L's, all of them, or none of them? When you think you know, raise your hand. Here we go. All right. Israel, Marissa, can you tell me what pod or pods you think you were listening to? Israel first.
I do not think it was any of them.
You're saying none of the above. Okay. I'm going to go to Marissa. Marissa, do you agree with him or do you disagree?
Think you got it? Which one? All of them or none of them?
What do you think, Marissa?
Tell me your answer. Louder.
Okay, hey, Israel, I don't know if you heard her, but she disagrees with you. She says she thinks it's all of them. What do you think, Israel? You want to stick with her, or do you want to stick with your answer?
Or stick with.
You're gonna go with hers?
Sure.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Israel, Marissa, guess what? Everyone in both your classes just earned 10 cards each. Nicely done. All right. Okay. Go ahead and go have a seat, guys. Israel, thanks for helping out. You can go sit down. Marissa, thanks for helping out. So, Israel, I will hire you. I'll have my people call your people.
Did you hear?
All right. Okay, guys. two quick things. We've already emailed your teachers a bunch of information about not only orcas, but the park that we're standing in today. Check in with that because there's more orca games. Also, teachers, make sure we have your snail mail address and get that to us as quickly as possible. Also, get us a number of students that are in your classroom right now so I know how many orca cards to send them. So before I say goodbye, I'm going to bring my best friend, John Floberg, back on. He wants to thank the people who've brought this program to you, and then we'll all wave goodbye, and then we'll blow each other kisses. Sound good?
Yeah, we just wanted to thank our funder, the Peach Foundation, and Washington State Park Foundation's partners, Inspire Classroom, Polycom, VisionNet, and, of course, our great friends at Washington State Parks. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. Blow us kisses.
Say bye. Bye. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
I'll say it again. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.